I had a discussion with my brother-in-law who's an out-and-out tech guy. Okay. He doesn't live in India, but he was visiting, and then I discussed. And he said, and he told me something that, if you want to really survive another 25 years in this business, you'll have to go tech. That's the only way to scale. When you do a tech startup and in the environment that we are, the obvious questions for people, to unicorn banega kya? Everyone thinks that the tech means you're going to raise money, kal ka kal you're going to change your lifestyle and things becomes hunky-dory. So I tell a lot of my friends and colleagues that, listen, if you want to do a business, 1,000 days is what you have to prove something to yourself and to the people who are dependent, including your family, right?
Nice.
Because today if I start something new and I'm not going to be making a lot of money, there is some sacrifice being made at home. They silently support you,
True.
But you need to say, boss, 1,000 days and no more.
Hey guys, today we have Ankul Nanavaty of sprintcart. Unique is a conventional printing company, while sprintcart is a new age tech startup. Ankul here is today talking about his journey and experience of the print industry. He has shared about his 80 rupees a color rule, which apparently has been a part of the printing industry for many decades. I have never heard of it. I'm not sure how many of you guys have heard of it. He's also shared about his 1,000-day rule for startups and how he collaborates with his competition in the printing industry. Ankul's story is all the more special because he moved from being a printer to a canvasser and from a canvasser again to a printer. What were the reasons for him to make these multiple shifts? He also pivoted into a new age tech startup. What were his motivations, his experience to get into these new businesses? Let's dive into this episode and know more about Ankul's story. Hi Ankul, welcome to Ink Stories.
Hi, thank you so much for having me over.
Ankul, I've had fond memories of meeting you. Amongst my first customers way back in 2013.
Yeah.
Right coming to this place, though I found some difficulty in finding this place earlier today. But all those old good memories came back, and thanks for doing this with us. It really means a lot.
Always a pleasure. Yeah.
So, I knew Ankul as the director of you, and now you've got sprintcart, the t-shirt that I can see and the jacket that you're wearing.
Yeah.
So, can we start with a little about knowing about sprintcart, what this is all about?
So, Unique was a company that was formed in 2000.
Okay.
And that was the time that I actually joined the business.
Okay.
So, I finished my graduation from HR and then I moved to SPGen to do a family managed business program.
Okay.
And then post that, I joined the business. And that was the time that we converted.
Which year are we talking about?
2000.
2000. Okay.
So that was the time we converted the partnership concern into a private limited. And when you come with new ideas from business school, I just wanted to go into the market with a little bit of a professional kick. So we converted, and then we of course grew. So a little bit about myself, I born and brought up in Bombay, went to HR, went to SPGen, and then joined the business.
Okay.
Right? But always started interning, I think, which happens in most family businesses. I started very early, maybe around 14, 15, summer vacation. So I started with 1 or 2 hours. Then post school, with summer break, I started coming 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
And that's how I started getting the feel of the business.
Okay.
But till then, I didn't really care much about it. I knew Dad was doing a print business, but I wasn't too sure.
Okay.
And more than as time goes by, I think print grows on you. I think the whole tactile feel about paper, the smell of the chemical, the ink. I don't even realize that when my nonchalant approach of not caring to being here forcefully and then slowly the affinity towards ink and became just love and passion. So that's the journey. I still continue to love print a lot.
Great. Yeah. I think many people would know of, but sprintcart, where did this start? What is the journey of sprintcart and what does sprintcart do?
Okay, so I joined the print business as I said in about 2000.
Okay.
And when I joined, we were just coming out with a bitter battle due to some political issues in this area. So Dad took a decision to just call it all quits and sold the machine, got rid of all the 40-45 workers that we had. So I joined at a time that when we had transformed from a printer to a canvasser, because you know what, we had still jobs,
Okay.
so we started outsourcing, right?
nice.
And
That was because of the political.
yeah.
Okay.
So he just had to take a call because it was becoming a nuisance and difficult for
Makes
him to.
sense, and that was quite wise. of
Yeah,
him.
yeah. So he just said, okay, we'll take a break for 2 years, we'll outsource everything, and then we'll see as it goes. And at the time, so he gave me an option that, do you want to come into this business or you want to go abroad? Because my sister was abroad, my rest of my family was abroad, so he wanted me to take that direction, if
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
It was my choice.
Okay.
Somehow I told him that, you know what, I've started liking this business, so give me about a year or two and then we'll figure. And sure enough, I started going, meeting customers, and I think at that time I feel there was a lot of support, because you had a lot of privatization happening in the early 2000s, right?
Right.
So there was a growth of a lot of new services that were coming up in India.
Right.
And I believe between 2000 and maybe 2010, it was very easy for people with a straight mind to make money. Because companies were coming in, you had FDI coming in. So even as a printer, as a commercial printer, there was a lot of scope.
Okay.
So I got that early success, right? The question was only going and knocking on the door,
Right.
which I feel a lot of companies larger my size was not doing, and always wondered that here I'm a young guy straight out of B school, I'm knocking and I'm
No
clicking.
qualms of doing it.
Nothing, and I was getting 8 out of 10 was my run rate. If I went to 10 people, 8 of them gave me work.
Oh.
Right? So I was
So you
wondering
mean-
why were the big boys not doing it?
So you mean the others were not that frequent in terms of meeting their
Nothing,
customers?
because I was taking jobs and giving it to them, right? I was printing it with all the guys and I didn't see them. So I always kept on wondering, but I think it was just the ability to connect with the customer, maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
So we got that initial success, and I started enjoying, because when you go to 10 customers, 8 of them are willing to give you work within the first month of interacting with them. It's a
Sure.
great kick for a young guy.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I don't want to go abroad, let's just stick to the business. And then there was no turning back.
I'm sure. And getting to the question, like, how did sprintcart happen?
So about for almost 10 to 12 years, I kept on selling print, enjoying meeting customers, and honestly, I love meeting customers, right? I love meeting people. And at some point, there was one conversation with one customer saying that, you're a young guy, you're doing this family business, but have you thought of doing anything in technology? Right?
Oh, okay.
And honestly, I brushed that off. And however, it took me to an experience that I had in 2010 when I was traveling abroad.
Okay.
At an airport, where I came across an article in a magazine, a technical magazine,
Okay.
talking about print, right? And the reason I picked up the magazine only at the airport, because it had print on the cover, something to do with printing, or future of print, or something to do with this. And then the article spoke about that there'll be a time that people will order online and procure online, and that seemed like almost like
And this you're saying in 2010.
2010. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So to me, it was almost like a dream that someone says
Unthinkable.
unthinkable, right? And I said, come on, we come from a time that people want to talk to you, send you things on email, and honestly, that still works today, right?
Yes,
Your
yes.
dispatch lists still come on an Excel, and we still pack it and send it across.
Right.
So when that article spoke about automating the whole process and the whole customer journey of indenting to fulfillment, sort of intrigued me, right? And that was the end of it. That article ended the minute I landed back home, right? But however, it stayed with me at some point.
It
in
might
time.
have laid some seeds.
Absolutely. And then I had a discussion with my brother-in-law, who's an out-and-out tech guy. Okay. He doesn't live in India, but he was visiting, and then I discussed. And he told me something that, if you want to really survive another 25 years in this business, you'll have to go tech. That's the only way to scale. And then, that was another reaffirmation from him. Mm-hmm. So got me thinking. Mm-hmm. And then I got in touch with someone in the tech space, and I said, Aisa kuch hai, can you make this for me? And he said, you have to just guide me. I can develop this and write the code. I just need you to lay down the whole architecture process. And that's how the whole journey began, right?
Wow.
And then we started talking in 2012, and we had a proof of concept to show it to people in 2014.
Okay.
In 2014, So some of the people gave good thumbs up and all of that. So again, with that little bit of support, I went and hired a few IT graduates to present ourselves more of a tech service provider rather than a printing company, right? Because though print is beautiful and appreciated, it does come with a certain amount of perception. So if I want a vice president systems or technology to talk to me, he won't need a printer, right? He'll put me onto procurement or administration or at best marketing. So I wanted to get the top bottom approach because that's how this would work.
It would work.
So we got some IT guys, and so see, but apparently we figured that we were too early to really sort of get any traction on this. And of course there were some, now when I look back, I know why we probably didn't succeed at the time. Of course, low penetration of internet, right, across the country. So they had challenges that, if I open this to all my branches across the country, how would they even place orders, right? So and at that time I really felt that these guys are not trying to do something. Then I think they was just trying to give me challenges or opposition, right? They were opposing something new. But now when I think of it, with maturity, I think they were right. So internet penetration was a big thing. Buying pattern was a big challenge. People weren't used to buying online. And from 2012 to 2018, of course, we had the whole, I would say flood of the Amazons and the Flipkarts and so on and so forth of the worlds coming in and changing the way we bought things, right? The way we ordered things. So all of that eventually helped us in the long run. And so we decided just to sort of put the project on hold in 2015 maybe, and for almost 4 years it was in cold storage, right? And then someone who had taken a demo in 2014 called me up in 2019 and said, hey, you're still in business, do you have that product still running?
Unbelievable.
And and sure enough, the entrepreneur when we said, of course it's chalu hai, and trust me, it was not. And I took some time from that guy for about a month, and I said I can only make the demo next month for whatever reasons. He was glad enough to give me some time, and within that 1 month we just sort of repackaged, upgraded, and did a demo to his team. They loved it and said let's just go ahead. So that was the first LOI that we got in 19, and then of course COVID hit, so it honestly put that project on hold. We were able to convert that customer post COVID. But the greatest thing that happened, I think, for me in those 2 years, it obviously put the whole world on pause. Right? When it put on pause, I could really think of what I really wanted to create when I go back, right, when markets open. And at the time, the platform was called Get Quick Prints because we were purely focused on being a indenting platform for printing requirements. Right? And during lockdown, we figured that, this had a much larger opportunity wherein a customer would want to put in more products, catalog more products from a pin to a plane, and he's not going to have different platforms or different products, right? So we would face that opposition going further. So we said, let's just get out from a proprietary mindset कि अगर मेरा प्लेटफॉर्म है तो मैं ही बेचूंगा और प्रिंट ही बेचूंगा. So I said we need to open it up,
open our minds
completely to different product categories, multiple brands, even multiple vendors. So today on sprintcart you could have Unique as a print partner and have 10 other printers who would be print partners.
Lovely.
Or you could even have the other 10 guys and not have Unique. Right? So we come in as a technology partner. So we broke, our mindset of trying to be very proprietary, that and allow inclusion. So we said completely
more open.
Completely. So either we, face a lot of opposition, or we be inclusive and invite everyone to be on the platform and, sort of open gates for the customer.
That's amazing, Ankul. I mean, when you're telling this, I was thinking, print industry is considered to be someone who's very, or the industry to be very closed.
Yeah.
बताना नहीं है, customer पता चल जाएगा. They wouldn't even let anyone walk into their press.
Sure.
कि कोई brand देख लेगा और उधर पहुंच जाएगा. That's the kind of fear that we work in, and the limitation of not wanting to look at other avenues. You have completely, not only changed the industry, but at the same time you've taken print along with you, but moved into a different industry. I mean, that's quite amazing as a thought.
You know what? Because I honestly feel that today we are in a world of collaboration and synergies.
Yeah.
So today, if a customer says, "Listen, मेरे को corrugation का काम है," 5 years ago I'd say, "You know what? I'll do it for you."
Right.
Today I'll reach out to a friend, right, and say, "Boss, why don't you just come onto the platform and service this thing for a customer?"
Yeah.
I'm not really interested in taking everybody's pie where I don't bring any value to the table.
Right.
Right. That's a shift probably happened with me.
Yeah.
And if you have a collaborative effort, I think you can grow much faster.
Right.
Rather than fearing another co-printer, I think there's so much more you can achieve when you can have a constructive dialogue or share a problem,
right,
and get a solution, or even offer a solution at times.
Right.
But of course that matters. If you meet like-minded people with that thing, it may not happen. But I see that a lot happening, at least in the groups of printers that I interact with. There is a lot of openness, there's a lot of sharing happening, and I think we all benefit. I don't think there's anything to lose, because if a customer really wants to leave you, he'll leave you anyways. I mean, he's not really, like saying, if you come to my shop floor, you'll see my product, and then tomorrow, your sales guy will go there. Well, if it's so easy for him to switch, then he is anyway looking
He's anyways looking out.
Yeah.
You would have
don't
know. Whether he sees the brand somewhere else or not, he was anyways going to
If
go.
he's going to entertain somebody, means he's anyway looking for a switch, or just still waiting for someone to approach.
True.
So, and if he's really happy with you, he's not going to leave you.
True.
So, I mean, there's no way to...
So, you've been in this industry for you said 2000, so it's almost close to 23 years, yeah? That's quite a long time.
Yeah.
So, what are the general myths that you've seen people face? I mean, one of them we just finished talking was people not wanting to share, but generally those kind of myths that you've seen which you would want to break today?
Now I see a lot of people sometimes talking, and I feel very bad, okay, so that, all of us have been in the print industry. It's given us so much. Everything that we are, we have, possess, everything that we've achieved is because of the print industry.
True.
Sadly, when printers meet, or even I see even within friends, they say, "Boss, print industry is dying. You better think of something else." And I've been hearing this. I've had customers ask me that. And I always tell my print partners that friends, that I feel so sad when people have doubt about your existence. That if you don't move into something else, you might perish. So I think the biggest myth is print ain't dying. It ain't going anywhere.
True.
Yes, you might have to reinvent yourself. And
That's
which
true
happens
for
in
any
every
industry.
industry, right?
Yes.
A typewriter died a sudden death when PCs came in.
True.
Right? And maybe those brands died. But I'm saying there could be a few guys who completely upped their game and became part of the PC revolution.
Yes.
So same way, a print company needs to just put their head together and say, "Listen, what's the path I want to take?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have to die."
Yeah.
Right? Digitization is not going to kill me. Right? And maybe sprintcart is one small example.
Yes.
But, and yes, today I feel very blessed that I probably could think of it, 10 years, and it's been a journey, because I feel that because we have a very matured product, it's only because of the 10 years of thinking that went behind it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's very easy for everyone to do, but I think what every print converter or a commercial printer who's really at the raw end of the stick today needs to just pause and question, what can I do? Rather than saying that, "Boss, I'm going to die." So I think the biggest myth is print ain't dying. Maybe you are.
If you don't change your thoughts.
Completely. Because I tell a lot of people, you only fail when you decide not to get up. You can fall 100 times, and I don't call that failure. The day I decide to get up is the day I think I'm defeated and I've failed.
Yeah.
So as a commercial printer, why accept defeat to digitization?
Right.
Either you can join the digitization revolution,
Join hands.
right? So, or you just transform and give customers something that you feel that they are going towards. It's easier said than done, but I don't think it's an impossible kind of a task.
Absolutely. I mean, quite well said. I mean, in terms of the patience that you had, to develop sprintcart parallel along with your existing business and being open to other vendors being a part of your business and not looking at them as competition. And it is so well connected with your thoughts. It's not that सिर्फ बोलने के लिए बोल रहा है. He is also getting his actual competition on board, and probably they would be selling products which he would not be competitive enough to sell.
Completely. In fact, just as you said, it took me back to the time when one customer said that अगर आप दूसरे vendors को onboard नहीं करेंगे, I think this is going to be a showstopper for us, right? A non-starter. And at that time, the printer in me got a little arrogant. नहीं सर, वो तो हो ही नहीं सकता. माल तो हम ही supply करेंगे because I'm giving you the platform free.
Yes.
So I realized that though I thought that I'm wearing a hat of a tech company, in my heart I was still thinking like a service provider.
You didn't want to leave the threads of
exactly. So I was still thinking as a business owner.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm going to hold on to the customer if I'm giving that platform free.
Right.
But today I think of a tech partner saying that, okay sir, if you don't like us or you don't want to work with us for whatever reasons, then we just come as a tech partner and then we onboard so we become far more inclusive. You don't have any opposition. They don't have any sort of inhibition that, listen, we are putting all our eggs in one basket.
Correct.
And today, if you think from their perspective, you have corporate governance, you can't have everything going to one guy, right? The way we wouldn't buy ink from one guy.
Right.
All of us probably have 2 suppliers or 3 suppliers.
Sure.
So when they're large guys, they need to have multiple partners.
Right.
So I just think we need to, sort of switch the way we think.
Yes.
And then suddenly the world opens up.
Right. Right.
Today I realized that, that time I was so focused. I was blatantly arrogant. अगर सर हमको धंधा नहीं मिला, platform नहीं मिलेगा. And there were times that now I'm thinking maybe 7 or 10 then said no because of this proprietary condition.
How long did it take for you to change this thought कि नहीं मैं ही करूँगा, to be open to others?
So I'll tell you, when a lot of customers told me this, it got me thinking that if 5 meetings में से 3 में objection आने वाला है, right? So we're talking about a 60% ratio who's wanting you to do this.
Okay.
And then I discussed it with my dad and few friends, and some of them said, listen, you know what, they're right. Think about it. If someone came to you and said कि हम आपको we'll give you an ink platform but ink हमसे ही लेना है, you probably would think that I'm not going to give everything to you.
Okay.
Right? And then of course when there's dependency, you can hold them ransom at some point. Right. In terms of rates or whatever.
True.
So then I realized that, listen, I need to think out of the box. It took some time. But as I said, COVID really helped me.
Yeah.
And during that time, there was a lot of learning that I think everyone did. Sure. You read a lot, you changed the way you thought, and then you said, listen, hey, I need to think the way, I'm currently thinking. Otherwise, I'll be left behind when I go back to the new normal.
Right.
Right. And I think that really
changed the way you thought.
Completely.
Nice. I mean, you are like one of the few guys who have thought the way you did, and you brought that change which we would want the world to know through this podcast. My thing is, in terms of have you ever thought like this is a tech platform, should I get investment from outside? What are your views about it?
So obviously when you do a tech startup and in the environment that we are, the obvious questions for people, okay, तो unicorn बनेगा क्या? Everyone thinks that the tech means you're going to raise money, कल का कल you're going to change your lifestyle and things becomes hunky-dory. However, I think you have to be, and because I'm still a very traditional businessman at heart, I still feel I really don't need to raise money till probably we really know where to deploy it. Right? So we will at a right time probably look at it, but currently my focus is just to get more customers on the book, right? Because I still don't believe a cash burn business. So our business model is very simple. We make money from day one. There is no freebies. Correct. And there's no cash burn. Correct. Right? That business, because today still sprintcart survives on the money that Unique invested, which is made the hard printing way.
Yes.
Right. So
and it can't be burned just a little bit.
I mean, it just doesn't work with me. So you have these great new age companies becoming unicorns. That's all fantastic.
Yeah.
But I still feel that at some point in time, those investors will come knocking for returns. Right. So
and rightfully so. It's someone's hard-earned money. If
Completely.
someone has put in that money, I mean, we see thousands of crores of turnover with equal amount of losses or more.
Right.
And I always wonder. So I mean, in terms of your, just to moving on before we move to the next topic, your thoughts in terms of these kind of businesses who probably make a lot of losses than the revenues.
You know what? So sometimes there are these D2C brands who do require the initial capital because the idea may be great, but the promoter, right, may not have the kind of resources. So it's fine to go and raise money from the market, and it's great that we are in an age that people are willing to bet on new entrepreneurs, and I think that's a great thing. I just feel that there should be a timeline to how long it's going to take for them to come to a break even and then start showing some profits.
Right.
We have a lot of large cases for years and years and years. They're growing in terms of customer acquisition or gross merchandise value that they do on their platform, but they're still not being able to break even.
Right.
So I do have questions on those, but you don't have access to their thought process, and maybe I'm not qualified to really challenge it.
True.
So I have my views that there should be, I think 1,000 days is good enough for any business to show
3
some
years.
traction. Yeah. So some traction and some promise for even the person investing time. So I tell a lot of my friends and colleagues that, listen, if you want to do a business, 1,000 days is what you have to prove something to yourself and to the people who are dependent, including your family, right?
Nice.
Because today if I start something new and I'm not going to be making a lot of money, there is some sacrifice being made at home. They silently support you,
True.
but you need to say, boss, 1,000 days and no more.
Yeah.
Then I either change my strategy, or I go back to what I know best.
Yeah.
But so that's my take. If 1,000 days, if you're not able to show some sort of return on capital to yourself, forget your investors. If you've not taken money, then
it's
to
time,
yourself,
time
it's
to
time to. And I think it's very important. So we probably look every 3 months. We pause and probably see who are the customers we want to service, what products even in the print business are not making sense. Just this morning, there were 4 products in my head for the last couple of times. We keep on getting POs, we keep on servicing them, but because of maybe lack of time or failure, I never really went back to the cost sheet and see that, boss, prices have gone up, are we still making money? So on my way to work today, I called my estimator and said, boss, last 2 months ka jitna POs for these products, just tell me what's the kind of margins we are working on. Because we are still servicing 6-8 months purana prices pe reorder ho raha hai. So it's very important to pause and because on a daily thing, order aaya, service kara, order aaya, service kiya. Do you really see what your unit economics are?
Yes.
And that's so important.
So important.
So important.
So important.
Because I hear, sadly I see here so many printers saying that, boss, this guy was doing fantastic work, and you suddenly hear he's made this investment and that, and suddenly one fine day, he's vanished. And my dad and I used to have this discussion that in print, if you manage your business well, there is no ways you can lose money. वो 80 rupees 1,000 मैं बचपन से सुनते आ रहा हूँ. Today also there is a joke in my print
What
business.
is this 80 rupees 1,000?
So I mean, when I was growing up, I remember in the 80s or 90s, offset ka rate used to be 80-90 rupees a color.
Okay.
Right, when we used to outsource.
Okay.
Today also I hear a lot of printers
The
saying,
prices are still the same.
Yeah, well, I hear we don't work as those prices, but I hear there is a joke going around that 80 रुपए color में तो जिंदगी निकल गई, and still everyone has survived, right? So question is that we don't know our unit economics. 80 रुपया तब भी चल रहा था, आज भी चल रहा है, and people are making money, and the guys who are not are dying.
Yeah.
So I think
these are probably the guys who have not been able to reinvent themselves over the period. Time has moved from a typewriter to a computer, desktop computer, to a laptop, to pads, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But if they are still in the calculator era, I think there is something.
There is. So I think there is a ink on paper concept, right?
Yeah.
Just put a ink on paper. That's business. That's a 80 rupee color thing.
Yeah.
But today, when you put embellishments, you add value.
Yeah.
You create a end product.
Yes.
Right. So you have so many stalwarts in our year who are experts at making books, who are experts at making cartons, and there is a certain amount of I would say, domain expertise they've got over the period,
Sure.
right? So if a printer looks at himself just as a converter rather than an artist,
Yeah.
right? And my dad used to always say that when he used to go and sell, there was a lot of respect, right? Because they say they looked at us as an artist because eventually,
Really?
yeah, because we are really putting someone's creativity and giving it form,
Yeah.
right?
Well said.
And if we really just talk that I am a guy who puts ink on paper, आप कुछ भी तो छाप के देता हूँ, then you're doing a lot of disservice to yourself, your business, and maybe the industry at large. But if you'd say I'm going to give you a complete product,
Could this be the reason that you say 80 rupees a color? ये अभी आपने जो बताया, जो लोग खुद को आर्टिस्ट नहीं समझते हैं, and is this the reason that people have a certain amount of self doubt and self pity in terms of criticizing their own work and their own industry, and they are not being able to grow their business? Could these be the reasons?
I honestly can't speak for a lot of people, but I think this could be stemming somewhere from self-doubt. Another thing is, as printers, I don't think we take a lot of enough pride. You know, I think that we are doing a great job. We are people who help the world communicate, in so to speak, right? Books and printing is what made a single copy into a million copies.
Yes.
Right. So, you know, I think we should take a lot of pride in what we've done for nation building.
Progressing
You know,
the
complete.
world.
I mean, a textbook, right?
Yeah.
If I couldn't multiply a textbook into 1, into 1,000, to 1,000,000, and couple of millions, how do you educate a community? I mean,
Yeah.
a billion people.
Yeah.
Right. Books have played a very important
Yeah,
role.
yeah.
Of course, that today digital is playing
Well said.
as a, but there was a time that for last 50 years, from 47 to maybe 2015, books was all we knew to impart education and knowledge.
Yeah.
So, and we all contributed to it.
True.
Right. So in any domain. So I think there's a lot of self-doubt and pity. I don't think we need to really do that.
Oh, okay.
We need to be real, because it's a great legacy.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
I
proud
totally
to say
agree.
that I'm a printer. I have no qualms to say that you know, my bread and butter sprintcart is really fancy and doing great stuff in its domain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was still the initial capital came from the print
The
business.
money has come from the print business.
Completely.
Yeah.
And you can never let that go, right? So I still feel that print is a great business.
Yeah.
And people say उसमें पैसा नहीं है. I think we need to learn how to make money out of print.
Yeah.
You know, there is enough money to be made.
Well said.
It depends on every artist, right? As you say, if I paint something, it'll be worth 5 rupees. That same painting, if today, you know, a big painter puts his initials, will go for 50 lakhs.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you perceive your own self, your work, what value you bring to the customer at the end of the day. That's
Right,
what really going to
right,
divide your,
right.
you know, decide your fate.
Well said. I mean, it's a nice way of putting things. So on this note, wanted to understand, what are the challenges that you generally face in the printing industry? Like, have you faced any challenges, or life has been relatively okay because you were like having a business?
So of course, I think like every journey, there are a lot of successes and a lot of pitfalls. I think success is more to do with, sadly, we always think success has got to do with the amount of money you make, right? That's the first barometer for any business.
Right.
Rightly so. But I think there are small successes every day, right? For a printer, I think we learn so many things every day. We've done the same process for another job and it's worked. That same process on the same machine, on the same substrate, with the same operator doesn't work today, right? And then we get, arey, kya ho gaya? What happened? You know, and then there is a learning. There could be some change in chemicals, some change in some sort of raw material, some batch issue. So we learn every day.
Right.
So I think every time we overcome a challenge, to me, those are small successes, because that goes into your repository, right?
Yes.
That okay, and when that thing happens again, then your team knows this is what we did last time. So I think those are everyday successes that happens in maybe in any manufacturing business.
Right.
And honestly, if you see challenges, I would say that if you speak about, say, successes and failures, I don't think there is any failure in anybody's life, right? There is only success and there are learnings. Right. If I learn from any failure, that I put that in a bucket of learning. Failure is something that it happened to me and I made the same mistake again because I didn't learn.
Right.
That's a failure.
Right.
Right. And I refuse to grow beyond it.
Right.
It's like a child, right, who learns how to run. And I always think that a child is something that can teach us so much resilience. he gets up, falls, gets up, falls, and still smiles.
Yeah.
Right? Because every time he falls, you'll see an improvement in him the next time.
Yes.
Because there is a memory that gets built up.
Yes.
So every time we fall, it's not how badly you fall, it's how soon you get up.
Right.
And you learn.
And what have you learned from that?
So exactly. And not repeating it again.
Right.
So there are errors that happen on the shop floor, and I don't get upset if there's a problem. I get upset if it's a repeat error.
Right. Ankit had put it very nicely. अगर पहली बार करो तो गलती, दूसरी बार करो तो बेवकूफ़ी.
Completely true. Absolutely true. And I tell that everyone, on the shop floor, I'm okay if there's a problem. Just don't repeat it. Because when you repeat it, it's an insult to the organization.
Right.
Right? You work like a horse. Don't work like a donkey.
Right.
Right? There are systems and processes. Just follow that. You can make 10 mistakes, but all of them have to be new and unique mistakes.
True.
If the same one is repeated, then I have a problem.
True.
So I guess that's about it.
Yeah, that's very nice. I mean, in terms of sharing these nuggets of wisdom, I'm sure our viewers are going to enjoy this. I mean, you're young. This question would be like, in terms of your legacy, would be a little too. But still, I think I'm sure you're also thinking about कि मैं कैसे I would want Unique to be remembered. I would want sprintcart to be developed as it's still I wouldn't call it it's a fully grown business. You are since COVID, you're kind of molding it into the way and shape that you want it.
Sure.
So what is the legacy that Ankul and your organization is looking at?
So I think I'm too small and inconsequential to probably leave a legacy. It's a very heavy and a big word. I think it's a lot of responsibility with that word legacy. But I think I would like people to remember me or the company, something that has strong values, a learning organization, right? That's something that I want my team to, and they love it, right? So we even have a core purpose that we repeat twice a week, all of us together, whether it's here or at the factory.
Okay.
We have core values that we say together, because when you say things together, the whole vibration is extremely positive.
Yeah.
So I think more than the legacy, I want people to remember that, listen, they were a good organization, or they are a good organization. They've transformed, they've impacted, and
they made a difference in
they made a difference. So, and today I see over 20 years today, I don't put too much effort in selling Unique to our customers. We've come to a stage where there is enough, of course, a lot of sales efforts at all times, a lot of client servicing, but today customers come to us for a certain experience. We don't really fight too much on prices, and we are okay with that.
Okay.
So I really don't know if I really answered your question well, but
Ankul, you did answer the question in a way where at least I could very well understand that the kind of purpose that you're looking at in terms of making a difference in people's life, and it makes a lot of sense, and I think it's very important. Taking an organization to a certain scale, yes, because unless it has scale, you cannot do a lot of things. But having these larger purposes matters a lot. Any questions that we should have asked and we missed, that you were like, "Arey, this is a part of me," and you did not know about this? Something that is.
Yeah, maybe about what. How do I feel as a transformation from a printing guy to a tech guy? What is the change in my thought process?
Yeah. So thanks for reminding us on this question. I actually thought of it, but I forgot to ask you. So please let us know.
So I'll tell you what might help a few people is that, and I get this asked a lot, that how did I make the switch between thinking like a traditional printing company or a printer to a service provider, right? And how did I probably come up with the idea of getting sprintcart to what it is today?
True.
And I'd like to be very honest and take this platform as an opportunity that it is anybody's game. All right. I was probably, I wouldn't say lucky, but I was probably smart enough to just jump onto this wagon of that article that came to my rescue, or a few things that my brother-in-law told me, and I started building on that thought process. What I have done or trying to do, because we are very small and just a startup, but we have a product at hand. It's not something that anyone cannot do. I think anyone can do this in any domain that they want. I think what really helped me was listening to my customers, and I've said that many times.
Yeah.
Anything and all our products on sprintcart is a big thank you only to what the customers told me, right? The only thing I offered them was my ears and the patience for them to pour out their challenges on a day-to-day basis. Let it be the enterprise procurement or the digital repository or the Genius card or the brand merchandise store. All of them have evolved completely from the inputs that we've got from the customers, and the technology till today is built only and only on the suggestion of customers.
Yeah.
So I would tell every printer, across the country, whoever's listening to this, just listen. And I'm sure every printer who's made it very big and successful, whoever I can think of, and I'm sure they'll tell you the same thing. हमने कुछ नहीं किया, हमने सिर्फ कस्टमर को सुना. Right? So there was one thing that I learned in business school is that the only way you can succeed is if you listen to the unmet need of your customer. Right? Because what he requires is anyway being given by your competition.
Yes.
You need to address his unmet need, and many a times he doesn't even know what he wants. He'll just tell you, "Ye mera dard hai." Right? You got to find the medicine and tell him, here you go, just apply this. Then that's when he sees the value, he'll stick to you for life.
Right.
So a lot of people say, boss, I don't know how you did this. Yeah, you created something really nice. It can really grow into something big. And of course, that only time will tell how well we can take it ahead. But question is, even to come to this stage,
Start to kiye.
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
And question is that everyone, I believe, gets this opportunity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think one more, after listening to you through this conversation and before when we started all the conversation that we had, I feel one thing that very clearly stands out is your ability to be open to things.
Yeah.
When now someone speaks, ये नहीं कि मुझे सब पता है. You don't have to tell me. I think that trait that you probably built in yourself in terms of being open to views, open to ideas, open to suggestions, and then being able to connect the dots. That article in Paris, the conversation with your brother-in-law, probably meeting some friend, and then यार मैं शायद ये कर पाऊंगा. Connecting the dots probably at the end makes a lot of difference.
So two things out here. So one is a very selfish thing, and second thing, I use it to my advantage. I'll tell you why. Number one, I think that you stop growing the day you feel you're not a student. So you have to be a student by heart. Second thing is, to your advantage, always play on human emotions. And I'm not saying exploit it. So I tell anybody, and it could be a binder on the shop floor, I tell him, boss, tu iska expert hai, mujhe nahi pata. Now the minute you put the onus of knowledge on someone else's shoulder, trust me, they'll share with you more than you ever thought they can add value to your life.
True.
So when I don't have knowledge, I have no sort
No
of
qualms in asking
accepting
questions.
कि boss मुझे नहीं पता है.
Yes.
In fact, I use it to my advantage. Even if I know,
True.
I tell the domain expert, boss मुझे नहीं पता है, तो beginning से मुझे समझा.
Yeah.
When you go as someone who's a seeker,
Yes.
and make him feel like a teacher,
Right.
no matter how small or insignificant that guy may,
Superb.
you will walk out with something that before you met him you didn't know.
Yeah.
And I use that to my advantage.
Absolutely.
In every domain.
I can't agree
And trust me, if you have that approach,
Yeah.
that boss, you know more than me, आप मुझे बताइए. I think that's the only thing that guy wants to hear.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you, psychologically, if you study in business, we are managing only human emotions.
Yes. Yeah.
We are not managing customers.
Yeah.
We are managing human emotions.
True.
If you understand what he's looking for,
Yeah.
and if you're willing to be patient and listen to him,
Correct.
you'll walk out definitely being the winner.
Right.
So have a student approach. Boss, I don't know anything. आप आपके डोमेन में एक्सपर्ट हो. I'm come to you for advice. People love giving advice. So just take it and use whatever is to your
Well
advantage,
said.
and let go of what is not.
Well said.
So I think that has really helped me.
Yeah, well said. Thanks for sharing this. I'm sure this would be like really nice for all our listeners to listen, process and probably imbibe in their daily lives. We are moving towards the last part of conversation. As much as I would want to probably stretch it, but our team here wouldn't want me to go beyond a certain limit.
Sure.
So I'm just moving towards the last two questions, and one of them is like, I have seen you a lot active on social media, though we've known each other for a long time. We've not really been in touch. Thanks to LinkedIn, I could see the wonderful work that you're doing with Sprintcart. So I wanted you to be there and share your story of Sprintcart, and obviously about what you've been doing with Unique. Who are there? Are there people in your mind who could probably be on this show, and they could probably share their stories? Any interesting names that comes to your mind?
So I think within the print industry also there are a lot of people who are doing fantastic work. I could give you a couple of names offline after this, and because I would want to seek their permission, right? That's the only reason. But I'm sure I can convince them, and they'll be great sharers. And the only reason I really wanted to do this thing is because I feel that in such conversations, and I've gone through most of your episodes, I've thoroughly enjoyed them, and I never knew that we had such great people within our industry, right? Because I feel that the printers like to stay within a shadow. They don't really want to come out and share their story for whatever reasons. And they're a very shy bunch of guys. But if you really start speaking to them, I think that gems in their
very
own
nice,
domain.
very nice individuals.
Very, very, very straightforward. And I think we have this perception printers don't share. Challenges किसी ने पूछा नहीं तो बेचारे ने बताया नहीं. Right? Now today someone like you goes with this kind of an approach. If you ask him, he'll be more than happy to share.
True.
So I think we're a great bunch of people, and
totally.
I think I've learned from all your episodes that I've seen, right?
Thanks.
I've learned so much, and I think I've got to know those people thanks to you. Otherwise, I would have always heard about them, acknowledged them, or maybe stayed away from them. I really don't know. But today, through your channel, I think I get to know so much about those people. So I think it's actually a great thing that you're doing for the industry.
Thank you. Thanks on that. That's really nice. Anything that we could do better, like in terms of the way we are presenting things, any areas that you feel that we should improve?
No, I think your format is fantastic. It's very casual, and it keeps, I think, the speaker very relaxed. So I think you're doing a great job. Your questions are bang on and very realistic. Because at the end of the day, if the story doesn't bring out the person, it won't really do much. So the business is one side, but I think it's more important to get the person.
That's
so
the
I
whole
think
idea.
that I would be very happy to give you a few names. And I think
you can take your time. It's
I'll give you
we can get these nice individuals on our show, and they could share their wonderful story. I think that
I think if you can get dynamic printers doing great stuff in their domain, I think will open up a lot of food for thought for the industry at large.
True.
So I think that'll really
and
help.
there'll be many more sprint cards that would come out in different areas. You picked a certain domain. I'm sure there would be different kinds of domains which are not explored as yet.
Absolutely. So there is so much that can be done, and I tell all my even printer friends on a forum that I am, that everyone should have one angle of technology built into their current operations, which is customer facing. Right? Because yes, you do have those human interactions of meeting the customer, but if you can give a customer a freedom of reaching out to you 24/7 with any small change that they want, anything tech, I really can't really put on that for everyone to figure out. But that's the only way you can scale, and that's the only way I think you can take the business to the next level.
Absolutely.
And there are some fantastic guys doing path-breaking work, and I really want them to be on your show.
Great. On that note, thanks, Ankul. I can't, thank you, and I enjoyed thoroughly this entire conversation, and I'm sure our viewers would also enjoy listening to it as much as we did shooting it.
Well, pleasure is all mine. Thank you for having me.
Thanks again.
All right,
thank you.